Oh, What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Dead Funny Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Joining me today, my co-hosts, Mandy and Cody. And today we're going to talk about some shit.
Sounds good.
Yeah. As we were kind of talking about a little bit before we got on the podcast, I have gotten really addicted to Hollow Knight recently, which is a pretty okay game. Getting there. It's getting better. I think the love for that game is more about the design of the characters than anything else. Because there's plushies, there's keychains, there's blankets, there's pillows. And I'm like, I feel like this game's relatively new. It's not new, but it came out in 2019. I'm pretty sure in the later half.
Really, did it?
I
thought it was
sure
older than that.
I might be wrong.
The only reason I'm gonna debate you is because I saw a game theory on it, and I'm pretty sure that 2017.
I am so off. Holy fuck. Okay. I'm out of touch. Well, okay, I guess.
Oh, it's even February 2017.
I guess. Now, is there a difference?
Have...
Is there a difference between whenever it was released on the PC versus when it was released on console? That might be where I'm picking it up.
I would guess that's probably what you're thinking of. Yeah. I can check. But the
Chris,
designs are really cute.
I think you've just finally gotten old.
That's fine, dude. I'm okay with that. At this point, I'm okay with it. I'm fucking 29. Well, I'll be 29 this year. I'm fucking okay with it. Whatever.
You're just starting to lose touch.
Getting closer to the 30s, man.
Kids all say these things that don't make sense anymore.
Okay, true. You were close. Console release was 25th of September 2018.
Okay.
So
a lot
you're
closer
close.
than the other one. Okay.
Yeah, closer than early 2017.
Fair enough. But yeah, there's shit all over the place, man.
I don't know a lot about console indie releases, but it feels like a lot of indie games come out on Steam first for PC.
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on the programs. Honestly, is from what I've heard from that, it's like Steam has a really good system with being able to release indie games fairly easy.
That makes sense.
And stuff like that for game developers, to where with Microsoft and everything else, it's not as easy.
Yeah.
So it's a whole kind of different spiel.
It's kind of funny, because that's true. At least that's my perception, is that, an indie game, it's easier to release it on the computer, obviously. Technically, you could just post an EXE on your website, right, and have people download it. But then I was thinking about it, I'm like, so where do all these terrible licensed Nintendo games come from? Because, the Wii has so many total garbage titles. I'm like, who made these? Do these count as indie games if they're clearly just cash grabs?
See, and that's the sad part is I feel like so many games companies like Microsoft and Sony get absolutely fucking crucified if it's they have a couple shit titles come out in a row, to where it's the Wii or Nintendo used to be the shit. NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, even GameCube. I'll go as far as to say it's GameCube. It was usually fucking juggernaut titles left and fucking right. And now it's you have 75 games a year. Guarantee you 70 of those games are going to be shit. One of those games is going to be a Zelda. One of those games is going to be a Mario Galaxy. And the rest of them are going to be Mario Tennis, Mario Racing, and Mario Sports. Boom. That's their lineup almost every year back to fucking back now. And it's no one says anything. They're just it's Nintendo.
I think that the Switch is getting better for having a more diverse and more honestly indie titles.
Yeah.
But even the Wii was so many. I mean, there's basically YouTube channels dedicated to terrible Wii games.
Yeah.
Broken, barely functioning Wii games. And I'm I think it's because it was a gimmicky system, because you had to do this.
Well, it's the same as what was it? The Kinect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Microsoft Kinect, where it's oh well, you can move your arms and it's fine. That's how you play the game, and it's well, but not really.
No. True that.
Yeah, what is it? There's JonTron has a whole video on how the Star Wars Episode 1 game doesn't work.
Oh
for
yeah, the
Kinect.
Kinect game.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Where you just do this and you win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like it like the whole idea when it came out was like, oh, you can have you're a Jedi, you can have your lightsaber, and all they're doing is just like this.
You know, honestly, I think stuff like that is why I'm still not like sold on VR not just being a temporary gimmick.
Yeah.
Because man, ever since, I mean, even earlier than the Wii, honestly, like they had the freaking Power Glove, you know, and Virtual Boy. There have been so many weird gimmicky attempts at this, and obviously, like the Oculus stuff is better than those were, but still, I'm just like, I don't actually know that this is really ever gonna be.
The technology's just not here yet. One thing that I did see that I thought was pretty interesting was that they had like a treadmill, and it was like just a square
omnidirectional treadmill.
Yeah, the one where it's like the ball and you're running inside
Yeah.
the ball. That way you don't move anywhere. Yeah, one of those with the fucking VR, so that way you can actually have. Oh my god, dude. Like I said, I just want to get to a point where it's like SAO. I can just shut down my nerve system, lay in bed, link up, and good to go. Done.
See, I think the advantage of that is, you know, it would really help fitness a lot. But if it's just lay in your opioid bed and just fall asleep, you know.
Well, then you kind of get like, for me, the part about VR that doesn't feel real is like you go to grab stuff and it's like obviously you're not picking stuff up. So like there's that disconnect of like there's air here and I'm like supposed to be touching something. I could see like with an SAO setup though, if you're not like physically moving and it's all in your head, then that probably feels way more realistic than anything else.
It's funny 'cause I just had like an amazing thought pop up in my head where it's like, you know, like let's say we did get to that point where it's like it shuts down your nerve system, you go in, right?
Yeah.
So we know all consoles they're constantly competing with each other and shit like that. So it's like, who's going to be the first person to make like a fucking cybernetic tube that you can just stab into your side, go get the surgery to stab it into your side, and it connects directly to your stomach. So that way, while you're in the game, you can just like hook a fucking food bag up to that little connector, and it just feeds food into your stomach while you're gaming. But wait! This is the part that I'm getting to. Every gaming system.
Before.
Not this. No, you're thinking. You're thinking about the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm thinking about poop. Different. Yeah.
But this is where I started laughing in my own head because it was like, I can't wait because it's always gonna happen. It's always gonna happen. Like there's people that just can't afford the shit, right? So that's like the Microsoft certified version. Wait till we get like the Mad Catz version. The little knockoff tubes that you're surgically putting into yourself, and it's like it just fucking breaks like mid game or some shit. Oh my god!
Just like
I would never do
vitamin
that.
Paste all over yourself.
Oh god. That's fucking hilarious, man. You know somebody would be buying that shit like, oh man, I can't afford the $500 tube to put in me. I'm just gonna get this $20 one right here.
That's me.
Used and refurbished. It's like just sitting on a wall in GameStop in a little plastic baggie like they do with the controllers. Like, yeah, used.
I mean, I'm looking at my desktop computer right now that's built out of all nice parts except the case that costs $10, you know? And like the fan that cost a nickel. It's like, yep, anything that I can shortchange, I'm doing.
Yeah,
the case looks nice until you.
Most expensive part of my computer.
Huh?
I said I think my case is my most expensive part of my computer.
Mine, like, it looks nice until you like try to twist it, and the whole thing can just like flex and bend. You know,
that's not good at all.
It's wobbly, but I'm like, yeah. What am I doing with this thing? Throwing it out a window? Nah, it's fine.
Oh. That is not
no,
good.
You know what was funny though? My a guy that I work with got a VR headset, and he's not like a video game person, you know, but he had a laptop that would work, and he was like, you know, why not? It'll be fun. It'll be fun. But you know, it has like the controllers, and it has like kind of grip controls, you know, or like if you it has like 3 triggers for your fingers, you know. And he said after he was like messing around with it for a while, he's like sat in his chair and was like having an out of body experience because his hands weren't his video game hands. Okay. And I'm like, man, you just need to play more video games. You get turned off of that real fast. Like,
well, that's like with anything new. I remember when I was working for this other job, I had to get my forklift license for all the different kind of forklifts that we had. And we had like fucking 3 or 4 of them. And a lot of them have that like little doorknob that you just spin in a circle, and that's how you like
Yeah.
turn it and shit, right?
Yep.
So I was driving around on one of those like all day because I had to learn that specific one that day. And then I went to get my car, and I was like, this just feels wrong. And the entire
Yeah.
time I was driving home, I'm like, this just feels wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to crash. Like, I don't understand what's happening. I mean, obviously that went away, but I was just like, holy shit, this is so weird.
I have that problem a lot when I either switch between manual and automatic transmissions or switching between a car and a motorcycle. Like if you ride a motorcycle a lot and then switch to a car and you start doing weird stuff like I can just lean. I just lean. I just want to shift. Like, you know, you're used to like shifting with your butt to move a little bit.
Right.
It's like, dang it, none of this works anymore.
Yep. Yeah, that's nuts. It's actually funny. Whenever I first got my Switch, I was playing Mario Kart with some people, and I'm really good at Mario Kart. Really good at Mario Kart. I've been playing it since like that was like my family's get together game before Halo. It was the whole family get together and we would all play Mario Kart. Now my entire family gets together, me, my mom, my cousin, my little brother, and we all play Halo.
Nice.
So wait, so people that were like parents' age played video games in your family?
So my dad is what got me into video games. I grew up watching my dad play Zelda and Final Fantasy. That's how I
That's
found out
funny
about
to me.
either one of those to begin with. My mom didn't really play them. She just started watching me and my brother play it as we got older and got our own systems to like be part of what the kids were doing. And then I think her first game she attempted to play was Gears of War. She was shit at it. And then
everyone was. That game was terrible.
That game was
anyways,
amazing. I love Gears. So
okay.
She was shit at it. I love the multiplayer. We played
Wait. I'm sorry. Did you say Gears of War?
Yes.
I don't know why I thought this doesn't make sense. I thought you were talking about Solid Snake.
Yeah, not
or
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Gears of War.
Sorry, no, Gears of War is great, but that would be intimidating to
they
pick
both
up.
have gear in it. Is
Yeah,
that? No,
I'm dumb.
right.
I'm sorry. I just hear my own thoughts and no one else's.
I was like, God damn, dude, what did Epic Games do to Cody? Anyways, so yeah, she was terrible at that, and then she started playing Halo, and I think that was around the Halo 3 era. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Halo 3. I'm 100% positive it was Halo 3. So, then she started playing that, and got into Halo pretty hardcore. I don't think she really ever came back to Gears, but yeah, that's just her game of choice. But a whole family would come over and we would all get together and play Mario Kart Double Dash, and we'd always play on Baby Park and just fuck each other up just constantly.
Yeah,
And-
that course is kind of a brawl. Yeah.
Yep. And now that everybody's kind of separated, we just do the whole Halo thing. But so with the new Mario Kart, I got on and started playing on my Switch, and I was just constantly losing every fucking match, and it wasn't even like close. Like I was always in like 5th or 6th place. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So for a minute there, I thought my fucking Switch like Joy-Con that I had was broken. I was like, there's something wrong with my fucking Joy-Con.
Yeah,
And
controller first.
Yeah, and I had the two fucking because I got the 2 black ends so that way I could have my Switch being all black. But I don't ever use my red and blue ones. So I had the 2 black ends, so I was using my left Joy-Con. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this fucking thing? I didn't know that there were motion sensors in the controller. And I lean a lot whenever I'm playing. So my car was constantly going to the left, and I was fighting it going to the right with my joystick. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this controller? I was getting pissed. And then I was like, there's got to be something going on. And I was like, hold on. And I went to options, and I saw fucking the whole motion sensor on or off, and I turned it off, and I was like, thank God. I was like, this is what I was looking for. And after that, I started winning. I was like, okay, I'm good.
The one that threw me off on the new Mario Kart is it kind of has like an assisted drive now.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's weird.
And it wasn't like making me drive worse. I think it was just like it made it feel disconnected, you know, when like you're used to going like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this, and it wouldn't quite do what I wanted it to do, but it was okay. But I'm like, well, why does it feel like I'm not connected to the cart? What's going on, you know?
Yeah.
But no, that's so funny to me, just because I had the complete opposite experience with my parents.
Yeah.
Like entirely negative on the video games.
Yeah.
Well, before I get into that aspect of it, I do want to throw some shade out there right quick. Since you brought up the whole assisted driving thing, the little Miss Bree that makes our schedule and everything behind the scenes of Dead Funny here, I believe that's the only reason why she's good at Mario Kart. It's because of the assisted driving. There we go. I said it. I said it. Come at me. No, she's actually pretty fucking good. She was kicking my fucking ass.
Because she was using the driving assist.
I know, driving assist, right? Exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah, no, my grandparents were that way. Like grandparents are like, get the fuck out, get out of the house. Because that's something else that I've noticed, and maybe I'm not sure how it is with your family or not. But basically, like down south, it's just the motto: we have them young. Like we have them young. That's just the motto. So like my grandpa or my grandma is like maybe about to turn 60. Maybe she's like probably mid 50s to 60s.
Yeah, that's how old my dad is.
Yeah, that's what I hear every time. That's what I hear every time. So my mom had me at 20.
Yeah, my parents had me at 30.
Yeah.
Or no, 32. Yeah. Because they had my brother when they were 29.
So that might be where that difference is, because my parents technically were still kids. Because, like, I mean, I literally, if I was to think about it right now and take 9 years off my life and being 20 and be like, I'm never going to play a video game because I'm an adult now, like, that would just suck. Like, that would, no, it's not gonna happen. Like, I'll be playing video games for a long fucking time. So, yeah, my grandparents were like that because when I used to stay with my grandparents in Alabama, I didn't have a room and I used to sleep out on the couch. And it was funny because my grandpa would always wake me up at 5 o'clock in the morning because he wanted to watch country music TV. So he'd wake me up and be like, scoot over, and I'd wake up to fucking country music playing, right? Every morning, man.
The most southern thing I have ever heard. I wake up at 5 in the morning to watch country music television.
He's in the army, so he was just used to getting up that early. But yeah, he would just like scoot over, country music television's on, and he'd just turn it on and just be playing country songs, right? So it was actually, my grandpa's fucking funny as shit. He actually said, so there was this song called Stay, and I can't remember who the band was. But the chick that's singing, she's talking about how this guy is in a relationship, maybe even married, I don't know, and that, you know, she's kind of like the mistress, and so she keeps talking about, like, you know, he always has to leave, you know, she's like, why don't you stay? And she starts crying during the song, and, like, she actually won, like, a, you know, performance, da-da-da-da, whatever. And so my grandpa, while she's crying during the song, he nudges me on the arm, and I was like, what? And he's all like, you see that? And I was like, what? And he goes, see how she's crying? And I was like, yeah. He goes, she wrote this song for me. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I'm done with you. My grandpa was something else. But he would always take a nap in his bedroom. And that was the only TV in the house, was the one in the living room. And it wasn't like anything big or anything. And so whenever he would go to take a nap, I would turn on the Xbox. And then probably like 5 minutes after I turn on the Xbox, you'd hear my grandpa go, hey, I was listening to that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you think you was listening to. You ain't in here watching the TV. That ain't how that works. Get the fuck out of here. So they ended up getting this huge fucking TV that we basically found on the side of the road. Yeah, we pulled a Cody on that one.
Yeah.
Huge fucking box TV. Brought it in, and that was for me and my friends to play Xbox. Wow. And we had to have the volume down, though, because it was in the same room as the other TV, while my grandpa could just have his TV going nonstop, 24/7, whatever he wanted. So we would, and we played the fuck out of Gears, played the fuck out of Halo, all that fun shit. That is the TV, which I don't know if I've ever told a story on the podcast or not, but like it had this issue where like you could play it, and then like if you turned it off, there was probably going to be like a solid hour of fucking with this TV to get it turned back on. There was a misconnection somewhere in the TV.
Yeah,
and whenever you get it on, it was fine.
Probably why you found it on the side of the road.
Exactly, for sure. So I remember taking the TV apart because I wanted to try to just look in there and see if I could figure something out, because I was really big into tinkering whenever I was a kid. And so I took the back of the TV off, and I had the whole thing unplugged because my dad was an electrician. I did a lot of like electrician jobs with him, so I fucking knew the safety hazards of fucking around with electronics. So I had TV unplugged, left it unplugged for a little while, and then started fucking with it. For some reason, this TV decided that it was just cool enough to store electricity in its little power box.
Yep, capacitors, man.
Yep, I didn't know about that. And so I got all the way up, and I don't know what the actual fucking piece is called because I fucking never really worked on any other TV besides this one. But it was this cable that wrapped around and plugged into the back of the tube, and it had these little metal prongs and a suction cup. And you had to push the suction cup in order to get the prongs to kind of release, and then pull the suction cup out, and that's how you got that off. So I was pulling it out, and it was like, it was stuck. I couldn't get it to fucking come. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I just kept trying. I couldn't get it to fucking release. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, I know the prongs released. I heard them. I feel like it fucking, initially, like I was pulling it out. Now it's just not. And I look, and it's like literally just straight electricity. It's just keeping that shit in. And it finally broke. And when it did, just surged straight through me. I fucking got knocked up against the wall. Everything. Like, that shit hit me hard, dude. Oh my god!
You're lucky you didn't kill yourself.
Yeah, no shit. So
do you want to hear the dorky thing about this?
Go ahead.
Totally know what that is.
Go ahead.
It's a cathode. It's called a cathode, and that's
Okay.
what was that big tube on the back, right?
Right.
And so those TVs ran at like super high voltage. So like your wall is 120. So those tube TVs would have a transformer that would step it up to like the thousands.
Oh.
So they'd have capacitors in there. So you just like slapped 1,000 volts.
Yeah, I got lucky. That was for sure. It hit me up against the wall, and my grandpa came out, and they fucking laid me down because they're like, "Oh my god, your fucking heart is like fucking way off."
Yeah.
Like, it was. Yeah,
That's
surged.
bad.
I was surged,
You
and
defibrillated yourself.
pretty much. And so my grandma was like, "Okay, that's it. TV's gone. That's it." And so TV ended right back up on the side of the road.
Okay, see, Cody has told me stories of doing similar
Man.
things. Did your parents ever tell you guys not to like stick forks in outlets? Like,
Well,
what is going on?
Here's what happened.
I have literally never heard of anybody just like tearing stuff apart and getting electrocuted until I met you, and I'm just like, why?
Living with me was like living with a horrible goblin for my parents.
Yeah, your mom has said that.
Because what I would do, because I was the same way. Like I love taking stuff apart and I'd mess with stuff. And eventually I started like getting a little bit more competent, and that was when it got more dangerous. But, you know, my dad would have tools in the garage or down in the barn or whatever, and they would just disappear. You know, like stuff would just be gone. And then all of a sudden, like if my parents threw away like a microwave, or if their VCR broke, they'd throw it in the trash and then it would disappear from the trash. And they're like, what's going on? And they come up to my room and there's like boxes full of screwdrivers and all the like parts of all the microwaves ripped apart. And they're just in my room now because I was like a weird goblin. The one that I did, and this is where I learned how circuit breakers worked, is I took apart
I've heard this story twice now.
Hey, this is a good story.
At
So
least.
I took apart the CD player and I got all the guts out of the CD player, and I was like, I want to make it work without being in the container, which blew my mind at the time. I was like, this is impossible, you know? So I rip it all apart and then I put it all back together. Like, you know how sometimes people will do with a computer before they put it in the case?
Mm-hmm.
They'll like put all the parts in and just make sure it turns on. I basically did the same thing with a CD player. So I had cut the power cable off, and I didn't understand at the time that this was bad. But so I'd cut the power cable off, and I was trying to figure out where to resolder the wires onto the circuit board, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, I was doing this at like 10 o'clock at night. I was in my bedroom without my shirt on, and I had the circuit board laying on my stomach. And I was just had the metal wires, and I was just touching them to random places until it turned on. And so then it finally turned on. I shocked myself. My bed lit on fire, and then the circuit breaker shut off.
God damn.
And I was like, okay, I can't tell my parents about this one at all. So I just like walked to my brother's room, turned on his lights, they turned on, and I was like, okay, I didn't break the whole house. So then I go down to, like, my parents are watching TV, so I just like, doop, 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 walk down to the basement, just like, hi guys, go to the circuit breaker box, and I'm like, da 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 da, oh, that one looks different, click, went back up to my room, turned on the lights, and I'm like, we're fine, I got away with it.
Is there like a burn spot on your mattress? Just like
No, there was a burn spot on me.
well,
also,
you said
yes.
the bed lit on fire.
It did a little bit, yeah. I think there were some, but I also played with fire too, so
Oh, so that's not surprising.
I was a bad kid.
You were a bad kid. That's why I'm terrified of our kids.
That's
I
fair.
feel like I was encouraged, you know?
What? Oh, yeah. Okay. Tell me how you were encouraged.
I don't know. My parents allowed it. No, see,
You
for
didn't
me
tell
though,
them. That doesn't count.
yeah, that kind of does.
No, it
When I was growing up, my grandma actually was one of the ones that had video games.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but she had a Nintendo. And this was like around the Super Nintendo era, so it was pretty old. You know, she had it forever. And she also had an Apple computer, which at the time, that was like more of a gaming PC than a Windows computer was. You know what I mean?
Wait, this is when you were young.
This
so
is
that
when I
would
was young. I was
that-
like
what-
3.
So that
4.
would have been like one of the colored Apple computer. You know when they were like
No,
purple,
it was just
green?
no, it was just
Do
gray.
you remember those in
Okay.
elementary school?
I do, yeah. I mean, we didn't
Ooh.
have
It
them,
was-
but yeah, I do remember it.
It
Those
was
are
older than
awesome.
that. It was just a gray box, and a
Oh,
monitor.
it wasn't even that fancy.
No. But what it had on it, this is kind
They
of funny.
couldn't
It
afford
had
the color.
no. It had Marathon. Have you ever played Marathon?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's Halo before Halo came out. Like, it has a lot of the same weapons. It has the same enemies a lot. Like, as soon as I started, I downloaded it again when I was older, and I was like, what the heck is going on with this? Like, it seems like Halo, and then I looked it up. It was developed by Bungie,
Oh, really?
and I was like, oh my gosh,
That's
this is
true. Yeah, that is true. Because now that makes sense to me now. Because I was like, the name sounds familiar, but I can't place the game. Okay.
yeah. It had a lot. It looked really similar. Had a lot of the same weapons. It was really interesting. But yeah, it was that was we played that, and we played Wolfenstein. But basically, what would
Wolfenstein.
happen is
Oh.
the parents would all be talking, and the kids would just get sent to like this back computer room, and we'd play Nintendo.
Oh, I know something that we can fucking talk about as we're fucking getting closer to the end here. Fucking this coronavirus, man. Like, god damn. Holy fuck. Like, I know, like, a lot of people might not deal with this, but I work in the safety business. So,
Oh, yeah,
like,
that
we
makes
have to put
sense.
lockdowns on, like, all of our respirators because people are trying to buy them the fuck out and resell them to other fucking places and shit. And it's like,
Really?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
there's a lot. Like, I literally at this point, like, all respirator orders have to go under review because it's like,
Really?
yeah, because it's like
Huh.
either one, they're buying it and sending it all to China for their Chinese workers, or two, they're buying all of them and then flipping them and selling them for twice as much. And then we're just fucked not being able to give it to our actual customers. So I think it's like, if it's customers that don't on a regular basis buy respiratory from us, because I literally have a company here in the state that I live in the city that I live in, literally has probably spent I looked it up. It's spent $116 with me over the past 3 years combined.
Yeah.
So don't buy from us. And then put in a $7,000 order for respirators.
Oh my
What?
gosh.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think I just found out my next business venture, though. Profiteering off of viruses.
Oh,
Well, apparently, I mean, that's how it is. I mean, now we're just waiting for fucking people to start trying to do it with fucking hand sanitizer and fucking Tyvek suits and shit like that. Like, everything's starting to get put under review. I was like, god damn. This fucking coronavirus fucking... Man, dude, shit's
that's
crazy.
crazy. I guess it makes sense. Like, I'm obviously it's not like ethical or anything, but like I get why that would happen. That's oh, that is just crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
fucking
funny how
nuts.
like that stuff pops up in weird ways. Like, you think it wouldn't have any impact. And it's like, oh, yeah, that would make. I get that. Like, yeah, orders would change all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Yeah, because then we would be completely sold the fuck out, and then everybody that's giving us the respirators because we buy them from suppliers now is on a hardcore lead time because they're allocating shit. So then it's like we got 6 months without getting any more respirators, and all of our normal customers that needed to do their day-to-day jobs are like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah,
right.
That's how you lose business.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I've been on the other side of that where I'm like trying to order parts, and they're like, oh, that has a 3-week lead time. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's a standard part. Like, yeah, 3 weeks. Ah, come on.
Amazon.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I work in an industrial job, and there's like been a couple times where I'm like, look, I know it's weird to order from Amazon, but it is cheaper on Amazon.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I don't know why, but this one part we can actually get cheaper.
And it's fucking nuts. So yeah, that, and then fucking, I don't know how big you guys are into sports, but fucking this first podcast we've had since then, so we definitely should talk about it. But like, obviously the world was shocked by Kobe Bryant dying. That was actually very sad. I'm not a big basketball fan, but I did grow up in the Kobe Bryant era. I was definitely one of the kids that would, throw the fucking trash ball and be like, Kobe! Like, I mean, I grew up in that era. I did watch him play some games. Wasn't a big Lakers fan, wasn't a big Kobe fan, but I mean, the dude was talented. There's no denying that. But just the whole thing, Kobe, his daughter, the other 7 people that were on the helicopter, because I don't know their names. It's just tragic.
I think the part, because I'm not a basketball fan either, but like the 2 things that hit really hard for me was like, one, it just was amazing how just like quiet everything got in terms of like everything was suddenly focused on that story because like
Right.
I browse Twitter all the time because I'm just home. And just like everything all of a sudden was Kobe. Every Instagram was Kobe. Every Facebook, like it was just like holy crap. Like I did not realize at all like the reach. But then the other thing that hit me was I mean it's so sad that there were, I want to say, 3 young girls. So there was his daughter and then 2 other young girls in the helicopter, and like his wife had just given birth.
Yep. Yep, we got like
So
I think it's like a
she's
2-month-old or a 4-month-old, something like that.
yeah, so
Mhm.
she's postpartum, and I remember how hard that was postpartum, being 4 months, and that I was like, oh my gosh, like your hormones are just insane. I cannot imagine what she is going through just with a newborn and not having the support, and
Yeah.
Losing a
well, I should
kid.
say should say not having the direct support of her husband, because I'm sure she does have
Yeah, right.
support.
For sure.
Not losing her kid, like that is so much in like a, because if it's like a 2 to 4 month old in like a 6-month period of time, that is so much.
Yeah.
So my heart really goes out to her because I cannot imagine what she is going through. Oh gosh, that hit me hard when I saw that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Ugh.
no, it's definitely something for sure. Yeah, because I remember the shock for me was, it's like I got a text from my best friend automatically. It was like, Kobe Bryant just died, and I was like, no fucking way. And like I went, and usually like whenever somebody's like, oh, somebody died, you can literally just type the person's name into Google, and then it's
Yeah.
like, this person died from da 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 da. I typed that in, nothing came up.
Yep.
It was literally
Really?
like just his stats and then stories about games. Da, 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 da. So I typed in Kobe Bryant dead, and the only thing that came up was TMZ, and I'm like,
That's because TMZ is the one that broke the story.
Oh, yeah.
TMZ rotten. They broke it before coroners even had time to talk to the families. That is ridiculous. I am all about journalism, and like, but that is some BS. You do
Yeah,
not
it's
do
not
that.
exactly journalism at that point.
No. Well, TMZ is questionable
Not
journalism,
exactly
but like
journalism
I am.
either, yeah.
My point is, I'm all about like letting people know stuff. The news is important. Like that is, you do not tell everybody before the family. That is so beyond okay.
No.
Like, that gets under my skin too, because it's like, come on, guys.
Well, and then that's what caused the whirlwind that I was in, because I was like, well, what the fuck? Kobe Bryant died, and it was all like, yeah, there was him and 3 people on a helicopter, and they died. And I was all like, oh shit. And after that, it was like, there's a possibility that one of his kids could have been on the helicopter with him. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, that's just terrible. And then all of a sudden, it's like, there were 5 people total in the helicopter, and it was him and possibly all of his children. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
That story just kept changing. And then like finally settled on, there's 9 people in the helicopter. Only one of them were his daughters. The rest of the fucking family was at the house. And I was like, Jesus, man.
Yeah,
like,
it really
fuck.
snowballed out of control. Like it was crazy how insane just like the breaking news happened. Like I can't even.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I know one of the things that kind of like really hit me pretty hard was I was scrolling through pictures, and Kobe would always put like his jersey in his mouth, the color of his jersey in his mouth, whenever he was like sitting on the sidelines or just like watching and shit like that.
Yeah.
And like it literally was a side by side picture, because that was his daughter that was like really into basketball as well, so she was also a player. And
Yeah.
it was her and him doing the exact same thing side by side, but obviously in their own different games. And I was like, man, dude, that's fucking sad.
Yeah.
Like, holy
Oh,
shit.
also, okay, another thing we gotta criticize. The NBA should have canceled all games.
Fair enough.
They're like,
Because they
as
were on their
they're-
way to the Staples game.
yeah.
Or to the
Well,
Staples
and there were.
Stadium to watch
I
it.
think that one may have been canceled. I don't remember, but there were there were enough games happening where like the media and people who were ESPN, they were just they were zooming in on the players' faces, and like a lot of them were really inspired by Kobe
Oh
and
yeah,
like
for
looked up to
sure.
him or played with him, and like you can just see the distress that they are under, and I'm like, why was this allowed to happen? Because that means like we're watching these people have to publicly mourn, and nobody wants to do that. Like, you are forcing them to air their grief because they can't hold it in because they're so upset. All games should have been canceled. That was ridiculous. Like, I get that they have a schedule, but this was a big enough thing in that community
Right.
that they should have just stopped.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's
That's fair. Because I
ridiculous.
remember seeing the video where they had LeBron get off the plane and he just fucking broke down and just
Yeah.
was fucking just sitting there crying for like a solid like fucking 10 minutes.
There's players standing on the court crying, and I'm
Right.
like, come on, just stop the game.
Let him
Like,
go home.
there is no game that is worth it enough for that to have happened. Like, I don't, that's just not okay. Nobody would like, I get that there are days where some people aren't in the right mindset, and so it's like, okay, well, sometimes you just gotta like, get going and get back on. This is a complete, like, the death of somebody who is that important to that community is just, that's too much.
Yeah.
It's not cool, NBA.
Yeah, that definitely could have been handled better. I completely agree with that. But they're gonna do what they're gonna do, unfortunately.
Of course they are, because it's making them money.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was definitely a sad situation. Just and then, like I said, just even not even being a fucking basketball fan, even like at my job at work, they were like, "Remember Kobe," and it had a picture of him and his fucking, when he's born, when he died, like pictures all around my job. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like they were on like every message board, they were on like every doorway. I was like, there might be some people who don't even know who Kobe is. I would be very interested for them to be like, "Who the fuck is Kobe?" Like. Just wondering, but no, it was, I don't know. It was
I
a
wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known if I wasn't just like on that, you know what I mean? Like, if I had just heard he died, I'd be like, oh, that sucks. Who?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy.
It is.
But I feel like that's, kind of like a place where we can kind of wrap this podcast up. Don't want to end on a sour note, but I definitely felt like it was something we should have talked about. If anybody watching this is kind of offended by anything we said about that, I do want to say, I guess I'm sorry, not sorry, because we kind of have our opinions and we're really more than allowed to air them out on our own platform. So sorry if that upsets you, but I'm also not sorry about that. I don't know how else to say that. I'm trying to be polite, but I know I just sound like a dick. So, but I mean, a lot of people get upset for people just talking about this stuff on the internet, and I'm sorry. This is our platform. Like we're going to talk about the stuff we want to talk about and kind of air it out the way we want to. That's what we're here for. I guess if you don't like it, there's tons of other channels to go watch. I don't know where else to go with that one. But if you don't have any problems with us, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit us in the comment section below. Follow us on our Twitters and our social medias as well. And honestly, for the end of this, when we normally have the Dead Funny rollout thing for the last 20 seconds and stuff like that, we'll just go ahead and have that be a little moment of silence to kind of end that off instead of doing the Dead Funny music. But at the end of all this, you guys have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.